If you haven't heard the news yet, John McCain has died, and so many publications out there are reporting on it, obviously, for obvious reasons. But what is interesting to watch is how all these leftist outlets are taking it. This one says, this is HuffPo right here. Trump reacts to John McCain's death. That's their article on John McCain's death. The first word isn't John McCain, it's Trump. And then this, sub headline here says, from the early days of the campaign, the president was often at odds with Senator McCain. Yes, he was. Okay. And this is a tweet that Trump sent out saying, my deep sympathies and respect go out to the family of Senator John McCain. Our hearts and prayers are with you. And that's what you expect them to say. That's a pretty typical statement. But like we said, or I said, that the media is spinning this in many different ways. We're seeing them all. John McCain was a guy, keep in mind, that all Democrats hated until Trump started attacking him and became a victim of Trump in their minds, and so they started to love him. And I'm not trashing John McCain or anything. I'm just saying this is what happened. And you're still seeing it, which I could argue is kind of disrespectful, because this article about John McCain, all it's about right here is Trump, and I'll read a little bit of it for you. The two men, while both Republicans, were political foes. McCain was a leading member of the so-called Never-Trumpers, conservative fews go on board the Trump train. Very true. According to reports, the president was disinvited to McCain's funeral. Trump made his disdain clear in the summer of 2015, shortly after announcing his presidential run, by throwing out a ballooning comment about Arizona senator's military record. He told the crowd gathered in Iowa political forum that McCain was not a war hero. You could argue that was a joke, and that was what it was intended to be, because people did laugh, but maybe it was in bad taste, maybe you shouldn't have done it. That's what happened. They go on. They don't end here. They say the future president suggests other people consider McCain a hero because he was captured, but Trump said, I like people who weren't captured. Like I said, that could have been a joke depending on how you look at it. And Trump avoided military. See, this is the interesting part, and this is where we sort of raise our eyebrows. Trump avoided service in the military. McCain, a Navy pilot during the Vietnam War, was shot down, held prisoner for more than 5 years. He was repeatedly tortured, but he declined the North Vietnamese offered to release him before others who had been captured earlier. Despite fielding criticism from a vast array of public officials, Trump refused to apologize and reportedly has no regrets. He did apologize for that McCain remark. That's BS right there. I remember he did. He did apologize for it. Or at least he said it was a mistake. I should correct myself. You guys can fact check me on that, but I remember him saying something along those lines. But see, this is what's funny here. They're contrasting Trump saying, oh, he didn't serve, and McCain was so brave and did all his service. But isn't it the left that was pro-draft dodging during the Vietnam War? Isn't it the left that said, don't fight in this, BS war, you're a murderer? Isn't it the left that peed on Vietnam veterans and threw stuff at them, calling them murderers and rapists and all kinds of terrible things? Isn't it the left that is anti-war and says you shouldn't serve at all? Isn't it the left that says we should get rid of the draft? Or am I crazy here?
Oh no, it's completely accurate. They've immortalized Jane Fonda, aka Hanoi Jane, who went over to Vietnam, and she did like a photo op with on like an AA gun from like the North Vietnamese army with like the terror over there, and that's she's a hero. But what's going on right over here is that there's a lot of I'm just on Huffington Post page and I see another article. Obama, McCain shared fidelity to something. Like it's everyone else but McCain. There's like one tiny article to the left, and right under that's the Trump reacts to John McCain's death. It's not about McCain. It's about like the opposition to Trump, and they keep breaking it. They keep making it about it. Like even in the one that's supposed to be just about him, I clicked on it, and there's he's mentioning Trump. Like they can't go and just talk about this guy, and the only reason they like him is because he was pro-immigration and because he was, him and Trump didn't get along, and he's attacking him for his, not wanting to go into the draft. Which even the left, everyone agrees that the draft, both parties agreed enough to go and pass a law stopping the draft. That's why we don't do it anymore. We have voluntary, join the military. And a lot of people on the right, they want to go say, oh, we should institute the draft again. No, I'm not a fan of that. Right now, if you want to join the military, you can. It's a perfect situation the way it is now. We have so many people applying to it because they have a lot of perks to it. Like you end up getting free healthcare, free college. Like the left should be all. That's probably why they are for the military now, because they get all these benefits. But I'm not trying to go attack soldiers here, John McCain. Even he, as much as I disagree with him politically, he's still he died from cancer, and a lot of people died from it. But these articles, and it's not just Huffington Post, like everyone else is just Trump said this and that. They can't go and just understand the fact that he died. They can't just like put the politics behind him. Trump apologized for it. No one cares. McCain never apologized for calling Trump a draft dodger. And honestly, like the country's better for it because you're a pretty dang good president who could have died. He did a lot of good. Like he made billions of dollars, and when you make billions of dollars, the government makes billions of dollars from all the taxes. And even if it wasn't for the taxes, all the other people who were hired by his various companies and whatnot. So like it was a net benefit that Trump didn't join the military, and I think that's something that we have to go and realize because like there's an opportunity cost. If he would have done like not even if he just died over there, like he may have been years without these businesses that helped out a lot of people and gave the government a lot of money to go and put forth whatever stuff they're going to put forth. So
Yeah.
this is just really annoying when you see all these articles bashing Trump over John McCain dying. Not like he memed him into the grave, like that doesn't happen. If you
Yeah.
ask me.
Yeah, and
But
I also hate how like this HuffPo article, yeah, like all they talk about is Trump here, and they go further. They say, days before Trump's slighting remarks, McCain had said that the candidate quote fired up the crazies as the fringes of the GOP with its indecisive comments about Mexican immigrants in McCain's home state of Arizona. Look at the fucking like lines they're drawing there. Trump's remarks that McCain reacted to in McCain's state of Arizona. I mean, they're giving no context here. They're trying to paint as Trump being disrespectful to McCain and doing all this stuff. But he was saying Arizona because it's a border state, and he was talking about border security. And he wasn't firing up crazies. He was firing up, working class Americans that have seen their communities crippled by illegal immigration. And what I'm getting annoyed with is the fact that, John McCain, like I said, I disagree with him politically, and I'm not going to bash him, right, he's died, but I will say, when HuffPo brings up this quote, they don't acknowledge the fact that McCain was the one that's always waving the saber, calling for war everywhere and to bomb all these countries. But they're painting him, they're only bringing up this quote. I understand why, because they don't want to bring up, nobody talks negative stuff when somebody dies. And I don't want to do that either. But what I'm saying is, with HuffPo, when they're bringing up negative stuff like this about Trump and what he said to McCain, when they really should just be talking about the good stuff McCain's done, I gotta hold them to that standard. They set that standard, not me. And it goes on to talk about this even more. And they bring up the McCain vote against a Republican health plan bill that would defund, repeal and replace Obamacare. And they said, oh, Trump wouldn't let that go. He kept saying let Arizona down. Well, it's because McCain was against Obamacare. He campaigned on repealing and replacing it, and then he didn't do it because he had a personal grudge with Trump. And I just don't like when they're misrepresenting these things and making Trump look bad because McCain died. It's almost like they're using his death to bash Trump, which I find wrong.
yeah, absolutely. That's the only thing these articles are about. It's not about John McCain anymore. It's about the just like the opposition. It's like the idea of John McCain, a Republican who's like a rhino, I guess. And I don't want to go against him. Like he's like on this hour's death, he's done a lot. He's done some good too. At least for like my political things, like back in the day. But like just this whole past election was pretty much just like against Trump. But like, and that's the only reason the left cares about him because everything else about his life, the left hate him until 2016 or
Yep.
2015, whenever the stuff went on. Like same thing with like Romney. They've hated him forever until he went against Trump, and now
Yep.
they're going to praise him too. And that's just really I guess in one aspect it's like my enemy is my friend, but that's not really good political ideology to believe in.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just go and throw away your principles because someone else doesn't like your enemy. That just doesn't make any sense. That's you have no principles. If there's no, and I guess it's more proof of the meme. If the left didn't have double standards, they'd have no standards at all.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I've always said is the big difference between the left and the right. Is that the the right has principles. But the problem with the right is they're sometimes too tied to those principles that they can't flex a bit or compromise a bit. Meanwhile, the left does whatever it takes to win. They do whatever it takes to win, no matter what the cost, how good or bad it is. And that's not saying the right does bad things. For anybody in the comment section says that. Yes, the right does a lot of unethical things. They've done dirty things too, don't get me wrong. But the left is far more willing to do that. They're more willing to do this and that, whatever it takes to win. That's partially why they win. But the negative to that is that they don't have any principles, and they can look bad because of that. And again, this HuffPo article continues their hypocrisy and continues to use McCain's stuff to talk about Trump. Because this little last sentence here, this last thing I'm going to mention, is that they say whether Trump will back off the McCain jabs now that the senator has died remains to be seen. This sentence doesn't need to be in this fucking article. I understand that you can write, editorialized articles and whatnot, but this is just crappy writing. Like, this person calls themselves a reporter, but this is full of editorialization. It's full of bias. It's full of a narrative that they're pushing. And it gets worse when they say this. Whether Trump will back off McCain jabs now that the senator's died remains to be seen. It's like, ooh, spooky. Trump's going to keep bashing McCain. Oh, my God. It remains to be seen. They had to stick that in there. And it's like, if McCain had not bashed Trump, they wouldn't be writing this article. They wouldn't be writing in this tone. They wouldn't be praising him. They're very hypocritical, and they're using Trump, or McCain's death, I should say, to bash Trump, which I find pretty sickening, to be honest. That's pretty wrong.
Oh yeah, and let it be known too. This isn't even in like the opinion section. This is within the U.S. news section. So they call this opinion piece full of just complete biased language, and it's done to go and post a political opinion within what they consider the news. Like if you're gonna have like the entire thing be completely opinion, that's fine. Put that on there. This is under U.S. news.
Well, this article I was talking about for is under politics, but I guess yours is under U.S. news.
Well, no, like Trump was it Trump reacts to John McCain's
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it was under when I clicked on U.S. News under Huffington Post. That's the first one pops up.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe they're not doing their website right, and they should it might be under politics.
Oh yeah, it is. It's under U.S. News, which has a subsection of politics.
So they call this news, but it's clearly it's not news. It's editorial.
Yeah,
and they have an editorial or an opinion section.
Well, I'm sure they do.
This isn't on there. Like I don't see this on the opinion section. But why don't they post this stuff in the opinion section? It's like making a mockery of news, and it's not just Huffington Post. Like CNN, I bet does this stuff too.
Oh yeah,
I've seen it with a bunch of things, and that's why it's very hard to go and find real news these days. Like there's very few just the facts. It's just all complete politicized garbage.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree, and that's what's always pissed me off, and I rant about it every day. I really do. Like, I read the New York Times every day. New York Times editorializes everything. They act like they're objective news. It's like, well, just if you're at least honest about it, I wouldn't mind it, but they're not. They act like they're objective when they aren't. This HuffPo article is just terrible. Again, it's a perfect example of what we've been talking about. It's just garbage.